You're ready to launch your first collection, but you're not really sure on how to go about it. Don't worry, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna show you how I plan and prep for when it's time for me to launch a new collection.
These days, I'm letting God handle all things above. The things I can't change are the reason you love me.
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's Jada Renee here, and as y'all can tell by the title, I'm showing y'all what steps I'll follow when it's time for me to launch a new collection or come out with something new. The steps that I like to take are to plan, to process, and then to execute. We have to come up with a plan every time that we're doing something with our business. We need to know what guidelines to follow. Then we're gonna start the process, and then we're gonna make sure that we execute it and get her done. You can use your laptop or you can use your iPad. I typically like to use my iPad because whenever I start to come out with a new collection, I like to be in a different area, a different environment, feel creative and to feel inspired. I'm gonna be using my iPad, and I like to use this app called Good Notes. This is where I take all my notes at, and I like to open up a new folder, and then I'm going to title it Spring Collection. As for the title, it's going to be the name of whatever collection. Just for this video, we're going to go with Spring Collection since spring is near/here. So we want to know, what's the name of this collection? What's the theme? What's the style? When we think of theme, we're going to think of pretty colors, very pastels. Style, we want to go with florals, we want to go with sunshine, rainbows, all of that springtime. If you were to do something more specific, for when I did my relaxed collection, I went towards for aromatherapy. That was the theme of it. So it was more relaxation, very calming. So you want to come up with a theme and then the style, so that way it all fits together, because that's really what's going to help it get together. The branding is the most important part, so that's what we need to figure out first. We want to start with the budget. We want to know how much money we can spend. What is the budget for this project, for this collection? That's so important. You never want to go over budget. You never want to spend more than you should. Always have a budget. Then we want to come up with a launch date. The best way to come up with a launch date is to plan around that specific collection. So like how this is spring, we want to either drop before spring or on the day of spring. And then the next thing that I like to do is create a vision board. I can literally have a brain dump on my iPad, so that way I can see everything that I'm envisioning in my head and just lay it all there. And then from there, I can go out and pick little things and then create my collection. And I'll create a vision board on my app. I'll just get on Pinterest and I'll find pictures of spring or whatever the theme is. Or what I also like to do a lot of times is I like to go on other big brands and go on their Instagram page and pick ideas from there. Now, as long as you're not stealing exactly what they're doing, it's fine. Just take inspiration. Don't steal their entire idea. This is the vision board that I've come up with. You can see we have the beautiful spring colors. That orange is super pretty. Of course, the pinks. We have to stay on brand with the pinks. And then you can see hints of the sky blue, baby blue, bits of pastel colors. We have some flowers in here because I said I want to go floral, so I have flowers in here. And then also in here, what a lot of these photos are actual product photos. That's what I really like to incorporate the most. Product photos are very important when I'm creating my vision board. I make sure to incorporate those in the vision board, so that way I can have an idea of photos that I want to take for when it's time for me to take my product photos for my products. As you can see, we also have some packaging. I love to include packaging. That's also part of the collection. I like to have specific packaging with my collections to make it all go together, just for branding purposes. But this is what I came up with. I can show you previous ones that I've come up with. So this is the one that I created for my relaxed collection. And as you can see, we have like the aromatherapy, because that's what it is. And then this one was for my fall. I had nail colors in here because I wanted my nails to be a specific color for when I took the photos. So this is the one that I actually did for my photo shoot that I did. And as you can see, this is how I like to create a vision board. It gives me ideas of things that I want to include, of what I'm going for, especially for a photographer. If you have a photographer, this can help them out a bunch. And this is also great for you because it's a brain dump, and it helps you put everything that you're thinking somewhere where you can all see it, and then you can go in and pick from it. Now, when we come up with our launch date, that gives us a deadline. That launch date is the deadline. That's when everything has to be done. Website, inventory, product, all of that has to be complete. One thing that you also want to write down is your last day to order inventory and your first day that you're going to start promoting. Last day to order inventory is so important. This way you don't get behind on schedule, so that way you're able to make your deadline. So that way you're not freaking out about shipment that went missing or anything. The last day for you to order inventory is going to be 2 weeks from then. I know some of you guys like to use Amazon Prime or pay faster for shipping, but trust me, setting yourself up with 2 weeks in advance to prep for your collection, to make product, to take photos, to configure your website, to come up with email marketing and text message marketing, because there are going to be days where things happen that you did not expect to happen, or there are just going to be some days where you fall short, or where other things come up, or where you just may not be able to do it that day. So set your last day to order inventory 2 weeks before you launch. I also have first day to start promoting. The first day that you really want to start promoting is about either a week or 3 days. You want to give enough time for it to catch attention and to gain attraction. Let's go ahead and jump into the actual product and inventory itself. So of course you need to know how many items that you're going to have. What's your quantity? When I say what's your quantity, I'm specifically talking about for each product. So for me, I have body butters, body scrub, body creams, and body wash. I need to know the quantity for all 4 of those. How many body butters am I making? How many body scrubs am I making? And I need to know the quantity for each of them. Don't total it all together. That's going to confuse you. What ties in the quantity depends on how many fragrances that you're going to have. For me, I always do 4 fragrances, and if I want to add more, I add more later on. 4 is really a good amount to start with, because it's enough for somebody to pick more than one in case somebody doesn't like one option or another option. 4 is plenty if you're trying to figure out how many to start with. Start with 4 fragrances. I have 40 of each item. Because I have 4 fragrances, I'm going to have 10 of each fragrance. What we want to come up with next is, are we adding a new product? So are you creating a new product? For example, if you only have body butters and body scrubs, are you trying to create body washes and incorporate it in this collection? If so, you need to write that down. Next, what we're going to dive into is packaging. So I like to make sure I give packaging a good amount of attention, because I want it to fit within the theme. I want it to pop in the style. I want it to be very eye-catching for customers that have never shopped with me before. For the boxes, do you want to come up with a special color? Do you want to get custom boxes? What type of boxes do you want to get? Are you hoping to get like how they have the PR branding boxes, where their products are fit to size in there? Do you want to have that, or do you just want to go with plain white boxes? I like to ship mine through poly mailers. So for my poly mailers as well, I'm going to find custom poly mailers. For the inside of the boxes, I love the idea of putting a little sticker, like how I did with my Relax collection. So that is all going to be for the boxes. Next thing that we're going to go to is our thank you cards. Obviously, I want them to be spring themed. Then for the tissue paper, crinkle paper, your choice, whichever one you use. So now what we're going to jump into is the inventory. And for the inventory, I typically like to make a Google spreadsheet, because there's going to be some calculations involved, and Google spreadsheet would automatically do the calculations. I'm just going to tell you specific things that you need to take into account for whenever you're shopping for your inventory. So first thing that we can start with is the packaging. We need to know how many boxes do we need, how many thank you cards, how much tissue paper do we need. We need to take count of the product, and we need to take count of how many jars we're going to need, how many bottles we need, as well as labels. Never count out the labels. The best way that I like to go about it when I order boxes and thank you cards, I like to just go with 50 boxes, 50 thank you cards. It's not a specific way that I come up with that. That's just typically what I like to do. Now, if you out here popping and you selling tons, you sell out every time, definitely get more. You don't want to run out. Definitely get more. We know how many jars and bottles we need because we know the quantity, and we also know how many specific labels we need. For labels, I always like to get enough to have extra, so I'll probably order at least 3 extra of each labels just in case. For products, since we know the quantity, again, we can calculate how much product that we're going to need. That's why it's important to know your quantity. You want to know exactly how many of each item that you're going to have. Finally, now that we have everything created, we know our budget, we know what day we're going to launch, We know the last day that we can buy inventory, the first day that we're going to start promoting. We know the quantity, we know how many fragrances, and we know what fragrances we need to buy, as well as the packaging that we're going for. We know all of our inventory. Now you are able to start buying things. A few things that I did leave out in here. If you're doing a photo shoot, what day are you going to do your photo shoot? What day are you going to take product photos? What day are you going to start working on your website? What day are you going to create your content for Instagram and TikTok? When is the website going to be ready? It could be, a lot of people like to do the day before they launch, which is fine. Or you can set it up to where you have it put on there days before. And it's like, hey, look what's coming, things like that. When is the last day to make your product? This is very important. You don't want to get caught slipping. You want to make sure you have your product made before you launch it. This way, as soon as it launches and people start ordering, you can ship out those orders that day, and they're gonna be like, dang, that's good customer service. Those things are also important, so I would write those down as well. What day are you gonna upload everything on the website? Now that you have your whole plan created, you are good to go. And I really do hope this video helped you. This is how I do it, and it helps me every time. It keeps me organized and it keeps me on schedule. Definitely click on the template and follow that template. It's going to keep you organized. Keep up with the deadlines. Stay organized. Once again, thank y'all for watching my video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and turn on your bell notifications so that way you can be notified every time I upload. So I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.